Too Cool. The first pre-tape we did is Too Cool. Well, sorry, Too Much. So Too Much would have been WrestleMania of '98 was when Brian and I got put together in the Battle Royal at WrestleMania in '98 in Boston. So it was, I guess it was a year before Brian and I got put together, and then they really still didn't do a whole lot um, with us as Too Much. We had a couple pay-per-view matches. And then maybe I guess it was May of '99 is when they presented the Too Cool stuff to us. But that didn't really take off until about December of '99, January of 2000.
How did you like teaming with Brian?
It was it was it was stressful at times. We were just two different people, and I think anybody who knows Brian knows I'm not saying anything that he didn't know or anything I wouldn't say to his face, and we were just two different people and with two different lifestyles and two different our priorities were a lot different, and he was good. He was really, really good, especially as a heel. I thought I was always a fan of him. It was just like, he just made some bad life choices. And, but even before the party stuff started to come in, it was, just, I can remember King of the Ring in Boston in 2000. Here we are, tag team champions, call times like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And at 5 o'clock, he's still not there, and they're like, where's Brian? Where, it's like, it's being in a tag team at that level is almost like being married, even more so. And some, because you're financially tied to this person and choices they make reflect on you. And so it was stressful, stressful. But dude, I tell you, like, there were nights where we wouldn't even speak before we went through the curtain. And then as soon as we go through the curtain, it was like magic, and it just like flipped a switch. And for whatever reason, it worked. You can't even really describe it or figure out why it worked the way it did, because we were so different.
Wait, back up a little bit. Do you remember who Too Much's first TV win was against?
Was it you and Devin?
Yeah, it
Was
was.
it? Yeah, and
Yep.
I know I remember we worked with you guys, but I didn't realize it was the first one.
Yeah, you guys weren't even wearing matching tights yet.
Really?
It was like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was like your second week teaming up. Yep.
yeah, that's
Yep.
cool.
How
So
did they
many
fit?
things, dude, that are just kind of a blur, and don't this is why I always say take pictures and keep a journal, because like that's something like should be a huge thing to me, like, because especially since it was you guys, because we had known each other from, I mean, probably like, I don't know, early '90s sometime, right? And then there's stuff I'll even see, Mike, where it's like us and The Rock and Big Show and Triple H and some segment we did on Raw, SmackDown, and I'll see it on YouTube, or somebody will tag me in it on social media, and it'd be like it wasn't even me. I'm seeing this footage for the first time, and here I am involved in this super cool segment that should be a highlight, but it's just, I don't know. I guess sometimes when you're going through it, you take it for granted uh a bit, and it's also just like everything's moving so fast, especially like once you get to um WWE and the way we were doing, like, 3 or 4 days of house shows and then 2 days of TV, and then you go home for a day, and so you didn't really have time. You do the segment, but you don't have really time to watch it back or see it or really absorb it before you're out on the road and doing it all again. So I think that's part of the reason it's all kind of a blur.
How did they pitch Too Cool to you guys? How much of it was your input? How much was the creative gift to you guys?
What I remember is Russo coming up to us at the Nassau Coliseum and saying, we want to do this thing with you guys where you guys start kind of dressing similar to what the Hardy Boys are doing, where they went from tights to street clothes, and want you guys to kind of go out and dress like the kids are dressing in the malls. That's what I remember him telling us, with no real direction other than it was kind of like, I think he said, um, you guys are going to think you're cool. You dress like you think you're cool. And we're going to call you too cool, but you're not cool. Something to that effect. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like almost like a mockery type thing where, we're going over the top, but we think we are cool. We're not. We started as heels, and I think it was so entertaining that, and so over the top and outlandish, similar to like kind of the way The Rock got over. He was just so far out there and just so fun to watch. It was, once he became that Rock character, it was hard not to like him. And I think it was kind of similar to us to a degree, where it was just, we were so over the top and crazy and outlandish that it was, and just so different at the time, because you had the Hardy's doing the crazy, crazy stuff, and Edge and Christian doing the latter stuff with those guys, and a little bit more comedy with Edge and Christian, and then Bradshaw and Farouk just beating people up, and the Dudleys coming out with their tables, and like everybody kind of had their own thing. There really wasn't a more of a lighter comedy type team at the time.
Why did they break you and Brian up?
He got fired. Yeah.
While you guys were teaming.
Yeah. So what happened was, in February of 2001, I went out with a neck injury, and I was out for a couple months, and then they sent me to Louisville to go to OVW to kind of knock the ring rust off. I didn't have surgery, just kind of did a couple months of rehab, and got it back, rested, and got my neck better. And I remember they flew me. So Brian was still working at the time, and I can remember he had a match on Sunday Night Heat the week before. I think it was like him and Blackman with Trish involved or something. But anyways, he'd been teaming with Blackman a little bit, and I can remember when they sent me to OVW, they flew me, instead of flying me to Louisville, they flew me to Cincinnati. Then I had to drive from Cincinnati to Louisville. And as I'm driving, I get a phone call from a buddy, and he said, "Hey, Brian got fired, huh?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, he said, "It's all over, it's all over the place." And because I was driving, I had, and this is like before you had all the internet on your phone, right? So it's 2001, like cell phones had come out, but we still didn't have the iPhone and all that stuff yet, right? So I didn't know about it. And so, he'd been busted going into Canada the night before, with all the drugs and stuff, and got fired. And that was it, man. Like, I don't know if we really spoke after that until I got released.
How did they add Rikishi into the mix with Too Cool?
So they added Rikishi in Brian and I came back, I think it was late October, as heels. We went into a thing with Edge, Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the Hollies, and then we worked Survivor Series 99. So the end of 99, we're still heels, complete heels. At Survivor Series was us and the Hollies against Edge, Christian, and the Hardys. And December, I remember Michael Hayes coming up to us and saying, "Hey, Junior's going to come out, Rikishi's going to come out and, save you guys." I think it was like the Mean Street Posse and maybe British Bulldog. And I feel like Val Venus was involved in it. Rikishi's going to come out, make the save, and want you guys to do some kind of dance afterwards. And I was like, "Oh, I'm not a dancer at all. Like, I'm a break dancer, and that's about it. I have nothing else. Most no rhythm whatsoever." And so we put together that, Brian kind of came up with that like electric slide, Too Cool dance type thing. And we remember us rehearsing that and us doing that. And now that's, dude, like, talked about this a couple times recently. And I hadn't realized it till recently. It was December of 99 was when they put us together. But then a month later at the Royal Rumble in the Garden is when we did the dance together. And like, that's a huge, like, we were complete, like, I don't like to use the word over. We were over when you got Madison Square Garden, everybody's standing on their feet in the middle of the Rumble, and we just break out the dance. And, it was like a career highlight. We didn't know it at the time, but to think that we were only together for a month at that point is just crazy how fast it all happened.